kind of going through a period that kind of I was having a struggle with hopelessness.
Oh, okay.
And it was just really, just the world is just in a dark place.
Yeah.
Why did Malcolm Jamal Warner, who was rescued by onlookers, die after receiving treatment from the Red Cross?
Then let's go to the date he actually died on, which is July 20th, which is the 201st day of the year. Yeah, can anybody tell me why The Cosby Show ran for a total of 8 seasons, equaling 201 episodes?
Remember, pay attention, y'all. They have to let us know first before they can do anything to us. That's heavenly rules, right? That's how God laid it out for these little demon mother. They can't with us without letting us know that they're about to with us.
They're gonna come for you. You're too clean for this game. That's what Eddie Griffin told Malcolm Jamal Warner, not in front of cameras, but behind closed doors. It wasn't for show. It was a straight up warning from someone who knew the rules of this twisted industry. Now, Malcolm's gone, found drowned in the ocean during what was supposed to be a peaceful vacation in Costa Rica. But here's where it starts getting shady. At first, every outlet was screaming the same thing. Malcolm died a hero, diving into the waves to save his daughter from a deadly riptide. US Weekly ran with it. Social media blew up, and that version spread like wildfire. But out of nowhere, the story flipped. Now the word is his daughter wasn't even in the water. Not even close. And here's the kicker. Malcolm's wife wasn't there that day either. So we're supposed to believe this man, who adored his daughter more than anything, decided to take his 8-year-old to a beach full of warning signs and 0 lifeguards? That don't sit right. If she wasn't in the water, then she was alone on the shore while her dad swam out? That just doesn't add up. Malcolm wasn't reckless. He was the kind of man who would never put his little girl in danger. He prayed for her. He believed she was a gift from the universe. He spoke about her like she was his miracle.
So even before conception, we were very clear we were having a girl. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it, because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. So I needed a girl to kind of, slow me down and warm, soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
Even in that final interview before he passed, Malcolm couldn't stop gushing about his wife and daughter. They were his entire world.
Met my wife through a mutual friend. I've never second guessed it. We've been together almost 10 years, and we have never had a fight, an argument, a raised voice, or a harsh word said to one another.
In 10 years?
I was like, if I'm going to have a kid, this is the person that I would want to have it with. I talk about them because there are obviously the hugest parts of my life, the best parts of my life, the best decisions I've ever made.
What really went down on that beach in Costa Rica? Because Eddie Griffin didn't just blurt that warning out for fun. He's been in this game for decades and knows exactly how deep this rabbit hole goes. Eddie Griffin saw it coming. He knew the kind of target Malcolm had on his back. A black man in Hollywood with no messy scandals, no wild public meltdowns, no puppet strings, and no fake drama dragging his name down. He was standing tall, speaking out against the system, and trying to uplift young black boys with real talk and real action. And that made him dangerous to the machine.
The thing about a black boy is you don't necessarily want to beat a black boy. What you want to do is you want to love him so divinely. You want to love him so fiercely that your disappointment will kill him. You want to adore him so much that the last thing he wants to do is disappoint you.
Malcolm wasn't trying to play Hollywood's twisted little game. He wasn't chasing clout or begging for crumbs. He moved low-key, worked on his own terms, and said nah to all those goofy, degrading roles they throw at black men to make a mockery. Quiet? Yeah, but he wasn't sleeping. He was reconnecting with folks like Dave Chappelle and Mos Def, legends who also walked away from the industry's toxic grip. That's when Eddie started pulling him to the side, saying things like, "They'll come for you if you stay clean. They don't like clean." That was a warning with weight.
There's no criminal charge.
There is a systematic effort to destroy every black male entertainer's image. Nobody leaves this business clean.
So if something about Malcolm's death feels off to you, you're definitely not alone. A whole lot of folks are side-eyeing the situation, saying exactly what Eddie warned about, especially the way the media keeps switching up the narrative, dodging facts, and twisting the timeline. When the news first hit, the story was clear. Malcolm and his 8-year-old daughter were swimming together when a rip current pulled them under. That was the version blasted everywhere. But just 2 days later, Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Agency dropped a different story. They admitted that, yes, Malcolm had been near the water with his daughter, but they claimed she was already out when the current took him. Huh? The update said Malcolm and a friend were pulled in, but only the friend made it back. And then, another curveball, they changed the rescuer's details. At first, reports said one man tried to save him and nearly drowned too. Now they're claiming that multiple people pulled Malcolm out. And here's the wildest part. They're saying 3 tourists, all doctors, just so happened to be right there. But they couldn't save Malcolm, yet they somehow saved the other guy. That's too many last-minute updates and coincidences for it to sit right. The way this story keeps flip-flopping, yeah, it's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And you don't need to wear a tinfoil hat to feel like something just ain't adding up. While the official version shifts every other day, fans and even locals in Costa Rica started raising eyebrows at something else. Playa Cocos, where it all went down, is straight up infamous for deadly rip currents and having zero protection. We're talking academic studies labeling it the most dangerous beach in all of Costa Rica. Even Olympic swimmers have struggled against those waters. And yet, we're supposed to believe Malcolm decided that was the place to take his daughter swimming while his wife stayed back at the hotel. Make that make sense. And on top of all that, there weren't even lifeguards out there that day. The local volunteer lifeguard group even admitted the beach was basically unwatched because they didn't have enough resources. Still, warning signs were all over the beach, loud and clear. Danger, risk of drowning. But somehow none of that was enough to stop Malcolm from going in. That don't sound like him.
This is the beach where all this unfolded, but really, as soon as you get here, even before you get onto the beachhead, you can see some warning signs for people who are coming to enjoy the day here. It says, Corrientes de resaca todo el año. Basically warning people, there is a current here throughout the year. You can see there are warnings for surfers, there's warnings about wave conditions, and then take a look at this massive sign says you can survive a rip current. Clearly, they're warning people about the conditions that can develop, and unfortunately, the conditions appear to have pulled out Malcolm Jamal Warner over the weekend.
Let's run it back. They first fed the public a heroic story about Malcolm trying to save his daughter. Then suddenly, they pulled that whole angle back like it never happened. Now, silence. Nothing but confusion. Meanwhile, this accident took place at a known death zone with zero oversight and big red warning signs everywhere. So if this really was just a tragic accident, why all the story edits? Why'd they let the world believe his daughter nearly died with him until that no longer worked? And where's the official press conference? Where's the real footage? Nothing, just silence. And when you remember Eddie Griffin's warning that staying too clean in this game can get you snatched, it's hard not to think someone mapped this out way before it happened, because now it's unfolding exactly like they wanted. And that leads to the big question, why would anyone want Malcolm gone in the first place? See, Malcolm wasn't your average Hollywood star. He didn't play dress up for the cameras, didn't chase fame by accepting clown roles, and definitely wasn't down to put on a dress just to get a check. He had standards, and that alone made him a problem in an industry that wants silence, not backbone. But Malcolm wasn't quiet. He spoke out loudly about the system and how it tries to control the image of black men from the top down. Back in 2021, Malcolm dropped an op-ed through the Television Academy that had people shook. He flat out said that white executives, producers, and writers are the ones gatekeeping how black folks are portrayed on TV. He wrote that even when black creatives are allowed in, it's just for show, and the same tired stereotypes get recycled. Doesn't matter if the characters are doctors or lawyers, the disrespect stays built into the scripts. Then there was his podcast, Not All Hood, where Malcolm kept it all the way real. He called out how Hollywood and the media in general love to act like all black people are the same. Same characters, same dialogue, same worn-out storylines, over and over. That kind of truth makes execs real uncomfortable.
The reason for the title is combating the narrative of Black life, Black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The Black community is not a monolith. There's so many levels and lanes to the Black community.
Malcolm didn't stop there either. He was vocal about the state of rap and hip hop too. He had no issue calling out the mess. Misogyny, toxic masculinity, all the self-destructive energy being sold to young minds. He wasn't trying to cancel the culture, he wanted it to heal. But that message, that's not profitable to the big labels. They rake in money off chaos, violence, and division. The more negative the message, the bigger the check.
There'd be a moratorium on both of those words in hip hop because it's low-lying fruit, it's so easy, everybody does it to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole, but I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing and
as much
every 2 sentences because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist
that you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
And it's no coincidence that when that whole Kendrick versus Drake drama exploded last year, Malcolm was one of the few who didn't just pick a side. He called out the entire game behind it. Malcolm wasn't out here picking sides in the Kendrick versus Drake beef or hyping the drama like the rest. Instead, he called it exactly what it was, a distraction. He said it straight. Hip-hop only hits the mainstream when it's wrapped in beef, violence, or negativity. That's when the cameras roll and the headlines flood in. Everything else, ignored. That's how real Malcolm was. He didn't play it safe. He didn't bow down to what was expected. Every time they tried to box him in, he pushed back harder. He wouldn't be controlled, wouldn't be silenced, wouldn't sell his soul for a role or a check. And maybe, just maybe, he got a little too close to the truth. That's why Eddie Griffin's warning wasn't some casual Hollywood talk. It was a serious heads up. Malcolm was dancing on dangerous ground. And now that he's gone, the whole thing feels way too convenient. Eddie didn't hold back in his tribute either. He posted on Instagram, writing, "My heart is heavy today, for what the world lost was a father, a son, a poet, a musician, an actor, a teacher, a writer, a director, a friend, a warrior that I had the pleasure of going to war with against the Hollywood machine. That wasn't just love, that was a message. Loud and clear, Malcolm was fighting something real. But it gets darker, real dark, because according to some insiders, Malcolm was working on something even deeper than just exposing Hollywood's usual tricks. Word is, he was on the verge of uncovering a secret the elite would do anything to keep buried. And in one of his last Instagram posts, Malcolm wrote this cryptic message. "It's just words. It's just entertainment. You're looking into it too deeply, okay? Because I know we can do better. Hopefully this leads to growth all around. The culture is on life support, y'all." And with that, it's clear. Malcolm was seeing the cracks in the system and he was ready to speak. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you on the next one.